Blog Talk Radio, the world's largest online radio network.
Be bold, be remarkable, be a legendary success. Join host Dave VanHoose, international speaker, trainer, and CEO of Speaking Empire, and Kristen White, award-winning TV journalist and creator of Instant Celebrity Academy, as they give you insider secrets and the latest strategies of the top-performing, world-renowned, transformational authors, speakers, coaches, and professionals on the planet today. Listen, learn, and become the best. The world wants to share the stories of your legendary success, starting now.
Well, hello, everybody. Well, I'm excited for another show on the most amazing show I think ever is our Be Legendary Experience show. And today we've got a very special guest that I'm going to bring on here in a moment. Her name is Alicia Lyttle, and some of you probably know Alicia. She speaks all around the world. She's an international speaker, author, internet marketer. And really today what I really want to ask her some key questions about her business, how she got the success that she's gotten, and how she's actually want to have an amazing business model, how she gets to play every day, travel, and design her business around her lifestyle. So I'm really excited to be able to bring Alicia Lyttle on here in a moment so we can really dive down. So if you're a speaker, author, internet marketer, business owner, we've got really something really special today to offer you, to really, really dive down on what's working today. And the beautiful thing about this show is we're going over principles and modeling and things that are working today right now. So, Kristen, are you with me?
Yeah, I am, Dave. And you know what? I think that that's so important, that if you are out there and wanting to build a name for yourself, to be legendary, just like what we're talking about here on this show today. Every week we bring you step-by-step strategies, how to get started, how to become more visible, and how to magnetically attract people to your message, your product, your services, and your platform. And, you know, I'm excited, too, because our guest today is really an expert in this area, and I know she's going to give us some incredible strategies and some specific steps that she'll only share exclusively with us here on this show. But before we bring Alicia on, I think we should tell everybody a little bit about the event that's coming up in Irvine in, wow, it's less than 2 weeks now. And from what I understand, is it sold out or is it almost sold out right now?
Well, our room book is booked up. I think it's just about sold out. I've got people from all over the country calling me up. We've got people from all the way from Europe that are coming, people from everywhere that's going to be at this event. I've actually got a really famous book publishing company that's coming to our event that is looking for people to publish them as an author. We've actually got, because we're in over by Hollywood, we also got a company that does reality TV shows, and they're looking for some new red-hot speaker talent to put on a reality TV show. And so I'm excited. We've got the Who's coming to this event. And the last time we did this event, Kristen, we had over 38 JV brokers, people that hook people up with relationships and stages and webinars that come to this event. So for anybody that's on this, listening to this, if you haven't carved out the time, it's a must to be there. And in fact, Alicia is going to be there too, talking more about how she's really modeled her business around her life, and how a lot of us, and this happened to me, Kristen, when I started to become very, very successful, it's like I became almost totally immersed in my business. And in 3-4 years of so much success, I look back and I was working almost every single day, but I had massive results, but I didn't have balance in my life. And I think that's something that's very important for people in their business, that they own their business and their business doesn't own them.
I think that's such a valid point, Dave, is that, we don't need to work harder, we need to work smarter. And when you network with strategic partners, when you form the alliances like you're talking about, you can move faster and more efficiently so that you do have more time in your life to have this balance like you're talking about, to have time to spend with your family, to travel with friends, and to have moments even in the morning for a little meditation or a time to just, get everything in order. And I know, too, I've had a lot of success in my business as well, that, until you master this, suddenly you find yourself awake at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking about, there's more to do. And, that's just really the curse, I think, of being an entrepreneur if you don't have that work-life balance.
Yeah, it's something that I've talked to a lot of my clients and friends, and it's a hard thing to really grasp, and it seems like Alicia has really mastered the art of having a successful business, having a successful internet marketing business, and a successful speaking business where she gets to travel the world and have fun and play and help people. So I think today's conversation is very important for a lot of us, of really how to design a good business model that's going to create the success you want in life and the freedom to have fun and play.
Absolutely. And before we bring Alicia on, I want to give out the phone number because it looks like we already have some guest callers lining up. And that number to call in, if you have a question for the show, is 646-929-2228. Again, that number is 646-929-2228. And you can call in. We'll put you in line in the queue, and then we'll probably take some callers right after the first break. So, Dave, let's bring Alicia on and tell us a little bit about her background, and I'm very, very much anticipating what she has to share with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
How you do?
Hi.
How are you doing?
Great.
Good. How are you doing, Alicia?
Great, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me on today. Very excited.
Well, we're excited and honored to have you on the show with us, and I want to get to work and just really kind of give for the people that are out there some real strategies and some tools that they can take and implement in their business now. So I want to get to work here, if that's okay with you.
Let's do it.
So let me ask you this question. One of the beautiful things that I love that you've done with your business is you've designed your business around your lifestyle. And I want you to talk a little bit about that. And if somebody's just getting ready to get started, what are the steps that they can do that they can design a business like you have?
Yep, absolutely. So, yes, me and my sister, we both work together in business, have definitely designed a business around our lifestyle. We call it the laptop lifestyle. So we both like to travel. When you ask us where we are, it's kind of a question of, we work wherever our laptops are. So we do a lot of traveling. I'm in Florida right now. She is in Jamaica. But we've designed a life where everything that we do is, based on our computer. We do have a completely internet-based business. So wherever my pink laptop is where my business is, and I bring it with me. And we do have virtual staff as well. So we do have full-time staff working for us in America and overseas, but they all work by the same model. They work from home or wherever their laptops are. So that's the type of lifestyle we've been able to build for ourselves. And we use some really great tools online which keep us organized and, allow us to have the ability to have your whole business run on your laptop and everything in your laptop bag, and wherever you go, you carry that bag with you and you're in business. So I really do like it. That's a lifestyle that we've chosen. For some people, they like to just work at home in an office. They've got, kids or can't move around so much, so they would want to design a lifestyle around, their laptop lifestyle, as we call it, would be designed around their schedule, right? They need to work in between the times that they are picking up the kids from school or taking the kids to soccer practice, and we call it having the ability to say yes more often, and that is saying yes more often to your family. So, if your kids want you to to go with them to watch a play, you can say yes, right? Because you've designed this lifestyle that
I think we lost Alicia for just a second, Dave. But what she's talking about absolutely is so much the dream among a lot of Americans. They want that kind of freedom. They want to, unlock the chain that binds them to possibly a job at a desk and where they have to be there by a certain time in the morning and be there at the end of the day. And this kind of freedom that she's talking about, I love that, the laptop lifestyle. That sounds amazing.
I think you're right, and it was a challenge that Kristen and I had when I started to grow my first business, Speaking Empire. I thought bigger was better, and I had a huge office, about 30,000 square foot. I had about 135 employees, and driving our business, doing sometimes 20 seminars a day with all those teams, and I got to tell you, I thought bigger was better, but when I look back on it, I really was never in the present moment. I was never enjoying what I was doing. It was always the next event. There was always a fire to put out, and I just had the realization today. Kristen, I stay home on Wednesdays now, which is a big shift for me because I always want to be at the office driving the employees and driving business. And I took this morning off and spent some time. We've got a 2.5-year-old beautiful little baby named Victoria, and I took her to swimming class. And I was just thinking as I'm watching swimming, how many people have the opportunity to be able to go spend a Wednesday morning doing swimming class with their, children. So Alicia's back. So Alicia, tell us a little bit more. One of the things I want to know, so a lot of people are saying, okay, great, that's great, Alicia, but you talked about travel. Can you give me a strategy? How can somebody travel, and how can they get paid to travel?
Absolutely. So in our industry, as speakers, you get paid to travel. So as you get, into this industry, you get invited to speak at different events. And speaking at these different events, you pitch your product, your service, your offer from stage. People rush to the back of the room to buy it. And the promoter gets a percentage, you get a percentage, and you get paid. There's been plenty of events where we've been able to travel to Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Malaysia, the U.S., Jamaica, and that's all just this year, and being able to speak and teach from stage and make money from it. So if somebody wants to get started as a speaker, Google is the best resource to go to, right? You can go to Google and look for different speaking events in your niche and start to put yourself out there as a speaker. And Dave, is it okay if I backtrack a little bit and tell everybody how we got started really speaking and what helped us really get on stages?
Yeah, I think that's important that you brought that up, because a lot of people are probably sitting there going, great, that's, I'm just starting. How do I get started? What are the steps? So let's dive down to the steps. So take us back in the beginning, and then what were the steps so that we can learn and model these steps, because you have a great, successful business in a very short period of time. So tell us the story and then dive down into the steps.
Right. So for me and my sister, we got invited to speak at different events. So it was through relationships that we got invited to speak at different events. But we kept turning down the events because we were not prepared to speak and pitch from stage, to sell something from stage. And that's a talent. That's a skill. It's a skill that can be learned. But if you fear that you don't have that skill, it can completely make you frozen. And when people say, can you come speak on our stage in front of 2,000 people, you know that if you don't do it right the first time, that you might not get invited back, right? So we said no in order to figure out, all right, how are we going to get on stages? How are we going to pitch a product? And how are we going to make sales in the back of the room? So I don't know if people know about the relationship between our company and you guys, but we came to Dave and Dustin, and we saw you guys at an event in Irving, just like the one that's coming up pretty soon.
Coming up, yes.
Yeah, that's where we first met you guys. We listened to your presentations there, and really everything that you guys taught at that event gave us the structure for our presentation and really gave us the knowledge that we needed in order to be able to create an effective presentation and create a pitch that resulted in sales as a speaker. So 2 days after that event, we did one of our first events where we were pitching. And so we pitched, had some really great results from it, and then we signed up with you guys to do a Power Day. Now, when we did our Power Day, we often talk about how important it is to have the right tools, the right resources, the right connections, right, and the right coaches. So we came to you guys for all of that, and you helped us with our PowerPoint presentation, how to put the pitch together. It's funny, Dave, because you were actually pretending that you were one of the Lyttle Sisters and me and my sister and doing our presentation for us, and we recorded it. You don't look anything like us, but it was a great job.
I did my best.
And we really felt that we had, the knowledge, the training, the resources, the presentation that we needed. So we went back to those promoters and we said, we're ready now. Let's do it. And so they invited us back on stages, and we did well. We continued to do well. And, it really took off from there. Now, when we teach people what you need to do to get started, you really need to, of course, find your niche, be passionate about what you teach. But even if you don't know where to go or what to do, it's really important to connect with the people who do know what to do. So, it's the old saying of why reinvent the wheel. Just team up with the person who already invented the wheel, or just buy the wheel and put it on your car, right? So we found the people that not only created the wheel, but could give us the wheels to put on our car and get us rolling in the right direction, right? And once we were rolling in the right direction, we, started fast-tracking everything, and we really started on the right path, and it just took off from there. So for people who don't, who want to be speakers, because there's a ton of people out there that really want to be speakers. They're passionate about speaking. They're passionate about changing lives. They want to be on stage and deliver a message, but they don't exactly know what that message should or could be, and they definitely don't know how to deliver it, and they don't know how to get people to join in with them, give them money for the value that they provide. And the easiest answer to that is to team up with a coach, to find someone who's got the answers and, let them help you get to the point where you want to be. For us, that was you guys, right? It was teaming up with you guys. It was going to your event. Then it was going to the Power Day. And then we were on our way. And so what we like to do is, yeah, sure.
So you met us in Irvine, and that was what, a year and a half ago?
It was, yep.
About a year and a half. So within
about a year and a half ago.
A very short time, let's just say 16, 17 months of showing up to our training, and then today, real quickly tell us what's happening today, and then I want to go back and forth with you and go over the simple steps that people can take that they'll have a blueprint. So tell us the great things that are happening today within a very short time.
Okay. So today, not only are we speaking on stages, but we've also brought our presentation to the internet. So we're doing our presentation online. It's still a 90-minute presentation, but we're doing it on webinars, right? Mm-hmm. And our webinar sales are great. We've had some webinars where we've sold 110 packages at $497.90.
Wait a minute. How many packages at how much?
So our package is $497. That's how much it costs to get started. We have got some upsells in there as well, but the basic package is $497. And we've sold as much as 110 packages on a webinar, 90-minute presentation, people buy, and the results have been amazing. So the presentation
is... So you made over $50,000 just doing one webinar. And where were you at doing the webinar? Were you at your house, at the Starbucks? Were you outside the country?
I think that webinar, I did it in Jamaica, actually. I think I was in the mountains of Jamaica. Yeah. So
the only challenge, and this is a challenge, because when you are traveling like you guys are traveling, when you do your webinars, you got to have good internet connection.
That's right. That's the only challenge. Yep, that's it, good internet connection. So as long as I make sure I have a good internet connection, I've got my laptop, I'm good to go.
You know,
absolutely.
Dave and Alicia, we're right on top of our break, so let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we can go more into step-by-step, how you put it together. It sounds incredible, Alicia, and I know that we already have the callers lining up, so I know some of our audience would love to talk to you as well. So we're going to be right back, and if you're listening and you'd like to call in and talk to Alicia about any of these topics, or Dave or myself, you can do that. You're listening to the Be Legendary Show, and that guest call-in number is 646-929-2228, and we'll be right back after these messages. And we're back, and you're listening to the Be Legendary Show, and I'm your co-host, Kristen White, here with Dave VanHoose. And our guest today, Alicia Lyttle, was telling us a little bit about how she got started. And Alicia, you were saying that you put together your presentation, and then there were certain specific steps that you took to take it to that next level.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you're looking to after you have your presentation, if you're looking to now get on stages, it's a great idea to just use Google to find different events that are going on, different promoters. So there's different places that you can register yourself as a speaker as well. One of the sites that I use is called Speaker Match. It's at speakermatch.com, and there's plenty of other sites that you can use to put your profile in as a speaker. But if you Google and find different events in your niche, you can contact the promoter or the other speakers that are actually speaking at that event. Tell them what you'd like to do, that you're, an upcoming speaker. I even send a copy of my presentation. So my presentation's good, my PowerPoints look good. So I send a copy of my presentation off to promoters and even to other speakers, asking them if they can connect me with the people that might be able to get me on stages. So I found that just asking works really well, but there are places on the web where we can find speakers and promoters, and that is by using social media. So if you go to LinkedIn, if you're active on Facebook, you'll find different speakers and different promoters in your niche that you can connect with. And, this is an industry, the speaking industry is built on relationships. So start to build relationships with the speakers and the promoters in your industry, and we always recommend that you offer great free content, right? So start to build your name, start to do as much PR as possible, but build relationships and connect with the people that are already doing it, and find a coach, because a speaker coach in your niche, or a speaker coach like Dave and Dustin, will be able to connect you with the right people and really catapult your success. And for us, a coach was so important. Connecting with Dave and Dustin was so important because all of the strategies that they've taught us, we've written them down and we're putting them into place piece by piece. So I say that because one of the other strategies, they taught us the strategy of doing webinars. So we've been doing webinars, getting some really great results. We do an average of 2 to 3 webinars a week now, which is fabulous. I love it. And then we've taken one of his other strategies and just put it into place. And Dave teaches that you can get other speakers to speak on your presentation. Dave, do you remember when you taught us that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big thing that people need to start thinking about, is really leveraging systems and resources and people to grow their business. And that's one of the things that a lot of speakers forget to do. And that's really how do you duplicate yourself.
Right. And so on webinars now, we have a partner who can do the webinar without me. So he's doing a webinar while I'm doing a webinar. So we've done 2 webinars at the exact same time, and then we just have, girls, some great staff members, helping to answer the questions on the webinars that we're doing. And now we've just put into place the ability to have other speakers doing our presentation on stage. So in Australia this past weekend, we had a speaker that presented our product on stage, one of the best speakers in internet marketing, really great guy.
Hold on for a minute. Let's dive down to that. So you have somebody else in Australia, so you didn't have to get on a plane and fly out of Australia. You have somebody else that's there that is delivering your presentation, selling your product, and you're making commission and not have to leave the house.
Right. Well, he's actually in America, but he flew to Australia, so I didn't have to get on a plane. He got on a plane. He went to go sell, and he sold from stage, and then I get a piece of it. So we made some really great money and didn't have to leave our house. It was it was a really amazing thing. And this is one of the things that, Dave taught us both ways. We should have a presentation that anybody else would be able to deliver. It's so, cut and dry, it's crystal clear. Somebody else should be able to deliver it. And so we've done that. And then, you as a speaker should be able to deliver someone else's presentation as well, right? So it's been really great now taking that next step. We just did it this past weekend. It was a success. We made money, and we made good money off of it. And now we've got the same guy is speaking this weekend at another event selling our product, and now we've got another speaker who's going to be selling our product as well. So all three of us could be myself and these two guys, and then now my business partner who does webinars with me as well, Greg Caesar. All four of us could be speaking one weekend, selling the exact same product at 4 different events and making great money from it. So it's really exciting.
It's kind of addictive. I used to always want to be the person because I love to speak from stage. I love sharing my passion. It's a lot of fun. But then when you have somebody else do it and you start making the money and you're on your boat or you're hanging out with your family or kids, it actually becomes more fun. I don't know if you experienced that when you're just sitting and you saw the orders come in, how fun that was.
That's right. When he was on stage and pitching, it was a Saturday night, and I was out listening to some great music and, hanging out with family and friends. It was my dad's birthday, so it was great. He was out there speaking for us and delivering a great message and a great product, and, we didn't have to do anything. So I love this model now, and I really want to take it to the next level. So, there's 2 of us that do webinars, 2 to 4 of us that are going to be speaking from stage.
Now, Alicia and Dave, we do have a caller who has been waiting patiently since the top of the show. Why don't we go ahead and bring him on?
Yeah, let's open up some questions and ask. Before we do that, real quick, Kristen. And that's the thing. A lot of companies actually come to my Be Legendary event to actually hire the speakers because all the speakers are there. So if you're looking to get gigs or to get hired as a speaker for a company, there's a lot of people. In fact, the CEO for a big personal development company comes to our events and hires all the speakers from our events.
Nice. Yep.
All right. Arthur, are you there?
Hello. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's getting better each and every single day. Well,
Hi, Arthur.
How you doing, Alicia? How you doing, Kristen?
Good.
How you doing, Dave?
Beautiful.
Well, actually, I was calling in reference to, I love the movement that you and Kristen and Alicia are creating, bringing tremendous value to people from all over the world that want to build their platforms in the speaking arena. And I talked to your assistant, Nicole. I was trying to see if you can come on my show. You or Kristen can educate my listeners about how to build a 7-figure speaking business. And then also, I know that y'all specialize in JVs, and I'd like to know if I can do a value exchange in regards to doing a JV with my billionaire mentor.
And you're asking that to Alicia or myself or Kristen or all of us?
Everyone that's on the show.
Yeah, absolutely, Arthur. And you brought up a good question in JVs and how you can promote somebody's product to your list and vice versa. I think is a beautiful strategy, and also to build value for your herd and your clients. So having somebody like Kristen, myself, or Alicia coming on to your list and building values and other beautiful things. So, yeah, absolutely. We do. We have a JV broker that you can just email Nicole. She can connect you with my JV broker, and she runs my schedule for opportunities to our list. So, absolutely. And another great way to do that, Arthur, is at our event. We actually have Wednesday a special JV session where we've had some of the top JV brokers coming, and they're telling everybody to book out their calendars for 6 months to a year. So if you're looking to get more gigs or more promotions at that event, bring your calendar because everybody's going to be booking up.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that because actually my billionaire mentor, actually QVC, Discovery Channel, and BET all started from his office. And he is actually on Blog Talk Radio. He does this show 5 days a week, and I think it would be a good match for Kristen, Alicia, and you, Dave, in regards to creating that JV relationship, because he has like a one-page email that goes out to 840 million people a month.
Wow.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely. We'd love to share and build value for people, and that's, I think, the thing that we really wanted to do with this Be Legendary show is really go over strategies that are working today, interviewing people that didn't do it 5-10 years ago, that are teaching people a theory. Now we want to kind of dive down what's working, what are the steps you need to take, and what are the relationships you need to connect to make that happen. So, absolutely. Is there any question, Arthur, that you have for Alicia? Maybe a question about a beautiful thing that we could talk about is how do you get to speak on Australia and outside of America? Because a lot of speakers right now are going outside of America. Mm-hmm. And Alicia, I got this question for you. When you go outside of America, I've heard it's like you're a rock star because you're American.
It is. Especially when you go to Asia. I mean, the people really do appreciate you coming from so far, and they want to hear what the American has to say. So it's definitely an advantage being speaking internationally, whether you're an Australian coming to the U.S. or an American going to Australia or any other country. When you travel internationally to speak, not only is it a great experience for you, but for everybody in the audience. They really want to hear what you have to say, and you're definitely at an advantage being an international speaker.
Yeah, if you could give somebody 3 steps or 3 principles to how to get booked in Australia or Europe, what would the 3 steps be? What would you say?
Yeah.
How would somebody get booked to speak over there?
Yeah, the first step I would say would be to build relationships. So you need to research and find out what events are going on, who's behind those events, and the speakers that are speaking at the events connect with them. So the first step is to do some research and then build relationships and then send your stats over. It's really important to have some good stats. So talk about how many sales that you've made from other stages, whether it's live or webinars or both. Send over your presentation. Make sure that everything is put together in a really professional format, and send clips of you speaking, even if it's just your clips from YouTube. Send clips of you speaking, and you'll see that just by reaching out and being proactive about it, that you'll definitely get calls back, and people will really look to connect with you and be excited about having you on their stage. So if you know that you're worthy of being on some great stages around the world, then you owe it to yourself to really reach out, find those stages, be proactive about it, and get yourself there. It really becomes a thing where you're like, I know that this is up to me, and I need to promote myself. So you have to go out there and be proactive and get a coach and get a mentor that can help you as well. But the focus, it's time for you to focus on you. And when you're focusing on yourself, you've got to be proactive about promoting yourself, because no one will promote you better than you promote yourself.
Alicia, I think you raised such a valid point, and I teach this to all of my clients because my background is in media. And, these doors to media appearances, the doors to getting on stages, they open the best from the inside. So if you can get 1 or 2 incredible clips, a speaker clip or a media clip under your belt, even if you literally have to pay to get that clip produced for yourself, but it's fantastic, and then you send it out, that will lead to an avalanche of other invitations. Sometimes the hardest thing inside this business is just getting started, just getting that polished media kit or that speaker's media kit put together and then just getting it out there, so that people can see what you have to offer and, what your polish is and your presence and your, what I call your vibrational credibility, and how do you get that energy out there and interact with the crowd and inspire people to take action based on what your words are.
Yeah, that's right, Kristen. And people, every speaker needs to remember that in putting together these kits, that they don't have to do it by themselves. And we teach a lot about outsourcing, so there's different websites that you can go to hire people to help you put together some really phenomenal kits for yourself, some phenomenal promotional pieces. And, you know, I recommend elance.com, elance.com, guru.com, guru.com. Those are really great places to find people that'll put kits together for you. And, Kristen, you were so right when you said that, you know, you should even pay to get yourself out there, because you can pay for radio interviews, blog interviews. You can pay for so much that'll help you to get yourself out there. And you'd be surprised at how cheap it is, right? You could pay someone $5 to interview you on a radio show in Australia, and that helps you spread your brand, and who knows who's listening, right?
You know, and I think the thing that's really interesting, too, Alicia, is that, you know, perception is reality, and that when you claim your expertise and position yourself, and you're like, I am, you know, America's greatest speaker mentor, I'm America's greatest, you know, real estate investor, I'm America's greatest, you know, cake baker, you know, whatever it is, when you kind of claim your space in the spotlight and then repeat it as if it's true, you know, eventually the rest of the world gets that memo. And so it is about branding and positioning and ultimately being bold, and that's why we created the show. It's about, you know, to be legendary is when people repeat the story about you and your success. So if you start that story, you know, if you craft it and then get it out there and keep getting it repeated, it becomes de facto. It becomes the accepted truth. And, you know, so many people, I think, sit around and wait for someone to come and discover them, you know, like Cinderella, and then it just never happens.
That's right. You're so right on that. And, you know, one of the things that the product that I'm selling right now is, in a nutshell, it's helping local businesses to get on deal sites like Groupon and Living Social, and you being the connector, the almost like a JV broker. You connect a local business to the deal site, you take a percentage of the pie, and we teach people how to repeat the process and all sorts of aspects, but it's a real win-win situation because the local business gets money, customer sales, the deal site makes money, and the customer who just bought off of Groupon to now go to this business got a really great deal. So they're happy and you're happy because you just had to do a little bit of work to connect the two. And, you know, we're deal site brokers, and there are, in the entire world, Kristen and Dave, there are no better deal site brokers than us. We are the best in the world.
Oh, there you go.
The world
best deal site broker. There you have it, though.
And when we talk about it on webinars and tell people about it, we say, look, there's nobody doing it like we're doing it.
You heard it first here, Alicia.
Yes.
But
Alicia, I got to ask you this question. This is a very serious, serious question, and I bet you a lot of people want to know. So who you got that's going to win the Super Bowl this year?
Oh.
Dave. Well, who's playing?
Dave, I already know who's going to win the Super Bowl, and it's going to be the Green Bay Packers, I'm telling you.
You've got the Packers.
Yeah, I'll go with Kristen. I'll
42 years here, season tickets, 42 years. There is no other team in the NFL, Dave.
So you've got I think you got a pretty good shot with the guy you have as quarterback over there. But I've got winning the Super Bowl this year, the San Francisco 49ers. That's who I have.
All right.
2-1,
so
Dave,
Alicia,
2-1.
Yes. So let me ask you
We're
this
teaming
next
up on you.
question. What is the most funniest or biggest mistake that you've seen or been a part of speaking? Like your microphone turning off, the product didn't show up. So what's one of the funniest things that you can share with us?
Oh, wow. We've got a lot of funny things that happen. Let's see. Recently, I would say one of the funniest things was on our webinar. So we're presenting on a webinar, and Greg, my business partner who's presenting with me, his internet goes out, so he tries to go to some Wi-Fi place in his car. He's doing the presentation, running off of his computer, and his battery power dies. You know, The webinar is still on because I'm on as an organizer, but we can't see his screen anymore, and it just goes back to that GoToWebinar blank page. So I'm finishing up the presentation without them seeing any PowerPoints, and they can't see the URL to go order at. So I state the URL out loud. I type it in the chat box. There were maybe 300 people on. And
300 people in the Oh.
And it goes off. And everybody goes over to the website at the exact same time. I mean, we're talking in an instant. I put the URL in the chat box. Everyone clicks on it, and the server goes down. No one can order. So, you know, Greg is calling me. My sister's calling me. I'm speaking, so I'm texting back to both of them while speaking and presenting and telling my sister, server's down, fix it, because she's the tech. Telling Greg, get your laptop back online. We can't see a PowerPoint.
Well,
so,
I bet you said it in a much gentler way than that.
And here I am sitting out by the pool, so I'm not much help either. I'm like, oh. So it was a crazy day on that webinar, but we sold 100 packages at $4.97. So
100 packages, and you still crashed.
We crashed.
You still. Oh, well, that was, so for me, it's like anything goes wrong because I'm so calculated when it comes to speaking and putting events because I know every single thing affects the close. So for me, at one time, if literally the room was set up and one chair was in the wrong direction, I would literally freak out. And I was so really particular about my presentation and things. So one little thing could throw me out back in the day. But I got to tell you, last night I was doing a webinar. There was about 800 people registered, and I was doing a webinar, and my battery went out too. right as the close slide to give them the URL to sign up, it went dead. And I literally, for me, it's like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. I did this. And the reason why is because I did it from my house at home, and so with my wife and baby, I went down to the garage. We didn't have an outlet down there, so I'm down there in the garage because I didn't want, no noise, and boom, the battery went dead on me.
I love these stories from, the kind of war stories. I think when you put yourself out there, stuff definitely goes wrong. And I will tell both you guys, Alicia and Dave, when I worked in news and I was doing live shots and I was hosting live radio shows, I'll never forget one time I had on this big author. He was big in the personal development, wellness arena. And we had probably about 50,000 listeners. And so I clicked out of, I did the call through Skype. And so I clicked out for a second. I tried to come back in, and it wouldn't let me come back in. So my guest is sitting there on the show with the music playing for, no kidding, 10 minutes until I could finally get back in. And so, I think when you put yourself out there and you use a lot of technology or you use different platforms and different modes of communication, stuff comes up. And I learned this from all those years of being in news. You just kind of pick yourself up, you dust yourself off and say, all right, that was a little hiccup, and then you just keep going. Because otherwise, sometimes these little mishaps can make you stop for a while. I've seen it with some of my clients. They do one webinar, it doesn't go that well, their audio doesn't come on or their slides don't run, and then they never do a webinar again. And, we all understand. I mean, that's part of it is when you put yourself out there is to be willing to be human and to have things go wrong and just kind of laugh it off and just keep going.
Yeah, and I found that the people that were there when the server crashed, they were laughing and they were supportive, but it got the rest of the people who might not have been so excited to purchase the program, it got them even more excited.
Right.
They're like, oh my gosh, everybody was trying to order it, crashed the server, I better order this too.
Yeah, created that hype for you.
That's right.
We got to take a quick break. But we'll share definitely some more war stories when we come back.
I've got a couple really funny stories to share with you after this break.
All right, we'll be right back. But you're listening to the Be Legendary Show, and we're pulling back the curtain on what goes on behind the scenes in the webinar speaking TV world. So 646-929-2228. Our guest is Alicia Lyttle, and you are listening to the Be Legendary Show. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, and we're back here on the Be Legendary Show, and we're talking to expert Alicia Lyttle, and we were just sharing a couple of our war stories. I know during the break, Dave, one of the things that struck me as really funny, you were talking about being on the stage and the chandelier came crashing down on you. I'd love to hear that story.
Oh, my gosh. It was, by doing so many events, there's all different kinds of wacky things that happen, and one time the chandelier came down, one of my things came crashing down. But I got to tell you, I just forgot about this. It was a really funny one. And sometimes back in the day, I used to speak for other speakers, and I used to speak sometimes for a guy named Marshall Silver. And in his presentation I would have a wad of $100, dollar bills. And what I would do is during the presentations, I would do a thing, how many people believe that, people just come up and give you money. And so I had this $100 stack, and I was going to throw it, and that was part of the presentation, into the audience to do the law of reciprocity. And I took the $100, and I'm like, who wants it? And I threw it up, and it went all the way up, and it got stuck in the light. And I didn't know what to do, and it got stuck. And,
the universe took it.
So when I went to the close, nobody even cared about clothes. Everybody was worried about getting a ladder to get up to get the money.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
I was once at a presentation where the ceiling collapsed. Those, we heard this water running, and we're doing this workshop presentation, and all of a sudden one of those acoustical tiles in the ceiling just collapsed, and water started gushing into the room, right in the middle of the workshop. So, definitely things happen.
Yeah. So this is another question. I think this is a pretty important one, Alicia. When people start to speak overseas, and it's happening more and more because a lot of countries are wanting American speakers to come because there's a celebrity. We're 5-10 years ahead of them with our strategies, our communications and stuff. So how do you ship your product overseas, and how do you know how much to ship is a good question. You're speaking, there's 2,000 people in Australia. What do you do to get your product over there?
Yeah, well, the great thing about products is that they can be made anywhere. So usually when we go to Australia, we find a fulfillment company, somebody who can produce our product right there in Australia. So in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and Malaysia, we ordered the products right there, had it delivered to our hotel room, and it's as easy as can be. When you're shipping it over from the U.S., you have to worry about customs and delivery. And the first time, we all learn lessons in this business, and the first time we shipped a product over, it got caught in customs, right? Leather binders, the whole product, everything caught in customs. So we had to find a local company who could take our files and reproduce the product, and they did it, fast and quick, and the product cleared customs the day after the event was over. So, we learned really quickly that you can create your products. Use Google again. In some cases, we just Googled it. Other cases, we asked the promoters or other speakers in that country, got a quick resource, and then got our products made in that country, and it was so easy to do. So that's what we recommend.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of speakers that they've went through that challenge of sending their products over and get caught in customs. And an easy strategy would just, call a promoter and get a local fulfillment company to fulfill it is a much easier strategy.
Yeah.
These are all the learning lessons that we learn that we want to share with people so that they don't have to go and figure it out the hard way, that they can learn from us and implement these strategies.
And the thing is, Dave, you were talking about this before, and Alicia, it's so true, is that, this listening to these tips actually saves you money because some of these mistakes can be incredibly expensive. I know that I am so thankful to the mentors that I've had. I've even gone through a Power Day with you, Dave, as a speaker coach, and I've worked with some other powerful mentors inside this industry that we're in. And it has saved me tremendous time. It has saved me a ton of money. And I think that if you can view it from the perspective of, gosh, should I really invest in that coaching program? Should I really, align myself with the leaders in the industry? And the answer is absolutely yes, because not only will it save you money, but oftentimes you develop relationships with each other that help take you to where you want to go next in your business. And, we talked about that at the beginning of the show, again at the end. These relationships in the end are really the hinge that swings that door open for you to go to where you envision in your business.
Well said. Well said, Kristen.
I always tell people this way, you're going to have to pay one way or another. You can pay the hard way
Dave.
and try to figure it out, or you can pay the quick and easy way. And it's true. It's much easier to learn from other people's mistakes. Take the tools and strategies, and just the key is implementation and use them and go out and make it happen.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, Alicia, when I got you on the radio show, this is an important question.
Okay.
What price point is converting best for you on a webinar?
$497 is converting for us really well on a webinar, but we've been told over and over again to put our price at $997, which is where we started. We started at $997. For some reason, we went down to $497. We can't even remember how the change happened, but we're moving back up to $997 again, even if you offer 3 payment plans. But we've heard that between $497 and $997 is a great price point. And for what we're offering, because remember, we're the best in this business, for what we're offering, they're getting a great deal. So if you look at some of the people in our industry who are selling really well, their products are $997. So just depends on where you are and where you start off at, but you can always start low and, go increase your price. So we're starting at $497 right now, and we've done a bunch of webinars at that price point, and we can tell people, look, last 2 times it's going to be at $497, and we're up to $997.
Yeah, the feedback that I've been getting is that actually the $499.87 is the best price point right now that's converting the best in some of the top industries. So just wanted to see what your test results were.
Yep, and when you do payment plans, you could do 3 payments of $397, and the people really see, majority of people will see the $397, and they'll think, all right, I'm going to put this system to work for me. I'm going to try it. I should be able to, pay this off really quickly anyway. It's just 3 payments of $397 or whatever. I recommend that you also have some payment plan system in place. One of the things that we do on our webinars is we sell it live. We do replays, so we send out replays of the webinar to the people that registered for it. And then we also have 2 girls that follow up on the phone. So if you still have questions, you have the opportunity to meet with one of the 2 girls in our office, Tina or April, to get a strategy session. And that strategy session converts into sales for us all the time. It's a really great thing. We're converting at a 50% close rate right now on strategy sessions. So when people say they want to learn more.
So that's a great strategy. So 50% close when you get somebody from your webinar to sign up for a strategy session, and I'm finding that to be true too, is follow-up today is much more important than it used to be. I think people today need to love and respect you and trust you, and I think they need that second touch sometimes for some of them to make sure that you're the real deal in touch. And so we're doing the same thing. We just did a webinar last night. We did awesome. We crushed it. We talked to the promoter. We've got my internal sales team calling those leads, and we'll find out, like you, 50% will double our conversions just by following up.
Yep. Yeah, great. Love it.
So, Alicia,
well, let me ask you the next question. So what used to work 3-4 months ago?
We're going to squeeze every last minute out of this show, Dave.
That doesn't, yes, absolutely. What used to work 3 months ago that doesn't work now in your business?
That's a really good question. Well, I would say that, change is always happening in our industry in internet marketing, and you have to go with the change. So it's always a combination of reinventing your business and knowing what works and adjusting to it, right? So when we first started doing webinars, we were doing them without the follow-up sales calls, without the replays, and the sales weren't where we would want them to be. So we just kept readjusting and changing to get the results that we wanted, and we're constantly talking to other people in the industry to find out what's working for them so we can add that in our business and, watch the numbers climb, because it's a numbers game, and you've got to make sure that your close is right and that the things that you're doing after your close to bring in sales are working as well. And if it's not working, tweak it. If somebody else has something that's working, take what they do and add to it and just make your close for your product as good as you can.
And one last question. What are you going to be teaching? I know you're coming to the Be Legendary event, and we've got you sharing more tools and strategies. What are some of the secret things that you could tell us now that you're going to be sharing at the event?
Absolutely. So we're going to be sharing some of our contacts for how to get on stages, how to speak internationally. We're going to be talking about how to have other speakers speak for you. We're going to be talking about reinvention, so how to completely reinvent your business so that you get the results that you want in your business. And then we've got our little secret toolbox and handout that we'll be giving to everybody that, includes the resources that we're using to really make things happen for us. So on the webinar front, we'll be talking about everything from taking payments to managing it, hiring people, all sorts of things that we're using in our business that we like to give out resources. So the resources that you can use to really build your business and take it to the next level. And recently I've had 2 people this week just ask me about going to your event. They know that I'm going. I've talked about it. They've asked me about going to your event. And I'm like, well, you've got 2 choices. You want to be a speaker. One lady wants to be a speaker on stage, and the guy wants to do webinars, but they both want to create their products and be in this niche. So I said, you guys can either sit at home and ask me when I get back from the event what it was like, or you guys can both go to the event and get the results that I got from going to the event, right? Learn how to craft your presentation, get the resources that you want, get on stages, meet the people that you need to meet to take your business.
I got to stop you guys. We're going to the very last minute.
Okay.
We got 10 seconds left. So I just want to
great.
thank you for being on the show, and Dave and everybody, be legendary. We will see you next week, and we will see you in Irvine. That was the right answer, and you guys better be there. So goodbye for now, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Blog Talk Radio, where millions of hosts and listeners gather.